The fact that also this one is represented by someone who knows Paul George's agent and it can turn Paul George off because multiple people are telling them that these moves that Magic is making, he's being unfair to Julius Randle, he's favoring some Rich Paul client. Yes, those are subtle, kind of nuanced things that Magic can do better at going forward. Stephen A., I think of another guy out of Detroit, Emanuel Stewart, the late great boxing trainer and manager, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time, and a former colleague of mine at HBO. Emanuel Stewart, Hall of Fame career, maybe the best trainer ever. He made certain mistakes, even in big fights early in his career, because he was a neophyte. Then he got some experience, and he corrected those mistakes. The question with Magic is, can he get the big things right? So far, yes. Now the smaller, more nuanced things, he has to learn from his mistakes, and so I give him a pass for year one.
I do not, and that's my brother, and I love him, but I do not give him a pass because certain mistakes that were made are things that I deem relatively inexcusable. You give Kentavious Caldwell-Pope $17 million for 1 year last year. You come back this year, you give him a 1 year deal for $12 million, and you barely use him. Even though he's averaging 23 a game, there were games where he was an absolute no-show. You didn't utilize him. There were games that Lance Stevenson wasn't utilized. Clearly, you misrepresented or misconstrued things because you decided to go the playmaker route as opposed to surrounding LeBron James with shooters, where every place in his career where he's had success was because he had shooters around him. You decide to ignore that because you want to bring somebody like Rondo in, the Lance Stevensons and others. Rondo, the money that 1 year, $9 million you gave to him, you could have used to keep Julius Randle, who wanted out because you showed no interest in keeping him. Now he's in New Orleans, and I'll be honest with you, he's balling, and he's incredibly aggressive, which is something that this Lakers franchise has lacked over the, at least this season. We see what he brings to the table. Ivica Zubac, he's a 7-footer. You spent the first 20 or so games not even playing him. You finally insert him into the lineup. He's averaging 17 and 7 for you as a 7-footer. He's only 21 years of age. The Clippers didn't even call to inquire about him. You called them. Not only do you shift off this young talent, okay, but you shift them off to a team that's playing in the same building as you, not just the same city. And oh, by the way, what you got in return was Mike Muscala, which was atrocious. There is no way around that. So then you got that situation going on, which cannot be ignored. And of course, you lost Brook Lopez, and we can forgive that or what have you. Here's the ultimate thing that Magic's going to have to consider. And I don't know whether this is on Magic or this is on Jeannie Buss. I don't like to mention Jeannie Buss because I know Magic Johnson has complete control of basketball operations. She controls the business side. She'll support whatever decision he wants to make. But anybody that covers the Lakers out here will tell you, Rob Pelinka has a good relationship with Jeannie Buss because he's incredibly tight with Kobe because that's Kobe's guy. And people believe that that's why he's there. I don't have any problems with Rob Pelinka. And I certainly don't have any problems with Magic. But Magic is new to this job. But so is Rob Pelinka. And so you don't have either of them who have experience in making the call in this regard. Usually if somebody's inexperienced, they have somebody that's experienced. And usually you could couple them and they could work together. Well, in this particular instance, you've got two relatively inexperienced individuals. And oh, by the way, who's recruiting for you now? Because Magic went and got LeBron, but can Magic and LeBron get anybody else that doesn't require a trade? Look. All of these kind of things are the kind of things that I'm looking at. And I'm saying if you don't know definitively that you could go out there in free agency and you've got somebody coming to your staple, why would you give up young talent like a Zubac? Why would you give up young talent like a Randall? Why would you hold on so desperately to Brandon Ingram? Even though I like Brandon Ingram, the question is, does he fit with LeBron in terms of style of play? These are all questions.
But okay, look, first of all, let's take it one at a time. I don't understand the Zubac trade. I didn't like it at the time. I don't know why they did it. I think that was ill-conceived. The D'Angelo Russell trade I already mentioned. They've had to get out of a bad signing that predates him. Julius Randle, Stephen A. They had Ingram. They had Kuzma.
Take a quick second. Fix your mic, okay? You're going to get that.
Well done, Will.
Stephen A., I want you to think about this while he gets it on, and you can answer this as well, okay?
It's done.
I know you got your three-point plan laid out, and I want you to get to it. You just put this in your back pocket. You give him a pass. Does LeBron?
That's what it'll come down to. But I think the answer is yes. Because as I was saying, The D'Angelo Russell trade got to get out of the Mozgov deal, okay. The Zubac thing, it's probably a salary situation. That's a bad idea. I think that's a good young talent. Keep him. Julius Randle, for example, was a guy that there was a lot of division about throughout the league, Stephen A., whether you pay that guy or not, particularly on a team with other forwards who they may have felt were more promising. Kuzma, for example, shoots it better from the outside than Randle. With LeBron James, that probably works better. Ingram was considered a higher-end prospect than Randle, more versatile, in fact, and probably most GMs would have also taken Ingram over Randle. So with LeBron, how many forwards do you have? That's one. And KCP is a Rich Paul client. It seemed pretty clear that the reason he was getting the contracts was actually, or at least it appeared from the outside, to keep LeBron happy.
First of all, I did not say they should not have gave him the contract. What I said is that they gave him the contract and then they didn't utilize him. That's what I said.
1 year
That's
deal.
That's what I said about KCP. That's number one. Number two, in terms of Julius Randle, the only reason I brought up Julius Randle is because the money that he would have settled for to stay in L.A., you gave to Rondo. So it wasn't about the money. It's about who you elected to give it to. And I'm making the case that on this particular team, because I know that Rondo, particularly come playoff time, is a stellar point guard. But the point is that considering this roster and what you were going to need, why would you not give Julius Randle the money that you gave to Rondo?
Because you have too many forwards and you need a point guard that you'd like Lonzo Ball to study under, and Rondo seemed the ideal guy.
Okay.
On a 1 year deal?
To me that doesn't work. That doesn't hold mustard based on what we've seen, because clearly you don't have people to make shots outside, so you need somebody that can bang inside.